It is an absolute pleasure to welcome author Chiquita Camille Payne to our series of author interviews. Welcome, Chiquita, who is based in Brooklyn, New York. And thank you so much for taking the time to share your book with teachers here in the UK. Your book is called Just Because. And before we go into the book, do tell us a little bit more about yourself. How did you come to write children's books?
Well, thank you first. Let me say that to you, Kayla. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to expand this way. So, and looking at Bright Eyes Education Consultancy looks like a great organization. So I'm definitely happy to be here. This actually started from a poem I wrote. Came up with not a rich financially, but a rich in love family. So I wanted to write a poem about them, and I came up with this poem. And I actually had an opportunity to share with my grandmother right before she passed. Who knew? And she gave me the okay for it. So of course I'm feeling good about my poem. You know, I finally wrote something about us, but it wasn't until I had my son, who's now 13, but when he was 9 months old, he was laying in the bed with his legs folded like my grandmother used to do and reading a book, but he was reading it like this, upside down. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to write a book for him. And the easiest thing for me to think of was to write one about family, because family is very important for me. And I'm actually from Chicago, and with us living here in Brooklyn, he doesn't get to experience them the way that I did. So I said, what better way to show him what our family was about, the importance of family, and knowing that the simple things that you do are things that makes family traditions real.
So do give us a synopsis. What is Just Because all about?
And just because a mom takes her child on a poetic journey about the importance of family, family traditions, and how families get together for good times, bad times, just because. And also another thing about it is that sometimes people ask me, well, is it about a single mom, or is a dad present, or is the dad not present? And I said, I don't focus on that. It's the family. I talk about grandma, I talk about auntie, I talk about cousins, and people getting together. I think that we have to realize that family is important, whether dad is there or dad is not there, or mom is there or mom is not there, but it's the whole family, you know, not just that as you would say, your immediate, but your immediate family can also be cousin, grandma, and just reaching out from there. So that's another focus with the book.
We have got the reading for pleasure focus in our national curriculum, which is quite important. We want children to enjoy books, but also to enjoy a diverse range of books from a variety of authors. But in addition to that, we also have to ensure children are reading with understanding. How do you see your book kind of bridging the gap between reading for pleasure and reading for understanding in a UK setting?
Okay, well, one thing that's great about my book is that you see people of color, which that doesn't happen in many books. And it's talking about the family, which, you know, books may touch on it in different ways, but this shows just the simple things that you do. So it's giving life lessons of what you do at home, of what you may not consider important of value, but it actually is. You know, if mom felt like going by grandma's house, or grandma decided to come over, or a cousin is having a hard time at school and they come home seeking that support, that you're thinking, oh, here we go again with something else. But actually, those are important lessons, important times of getting together. These are the things that families do to create that bond, to keep us together, to know that we support each other, and that creates a good foundation for our children and being happy. Because if you're happy at home, it brings about the happiness in school and happiness in your success in life. But you have to understand that those things that you do are important. Don't think that, oh, I just hung out with my grandma this weekend, or my cousin came by because he wasn't feeling well. That you have to understand that those are important things, that those are of value. Don't take them for granted, which is, you know, children will tend to do, and even adults. And especially nowadays in the world of social media, that everybody's in their phone or in their thing and not paying attention to each other, that pay attention to these little things, because they're important values for self-worth, knowing that what you have is important, knowing that what your family gives you is important, and that builds your character. So it's the simple thing, but it's, you know, it's a life lesson in itself. So that's what I want children to get, and adults even. And but it's
Absolutely,
nostalgic as
absolutely.
well.
So true, so true. And I like the fact that you touched on the representation within the book of a Black family, and it really is about improving that diversity in books and making sure that representation isn't done in a stereotypic way.
Right.
Often, books about representation may show Black cultures or other ethnic minority cultures, but focusing on particular moments in history, and they kind of miss the mark in terms of making sure that the text is relevant to the everyday lives of many Black and other minority ethnic children in this country. So it is always a pleasure to come across a book that represents minority families, but in a way that's everyday and normal. It's not specifically looking at an ancient part of history that's having an impact on the present day, or heavy things like that, but it's teaching lessons, life lessons, that any child of any background or any race can access. At this point, I think I'll be quiet and I'll hand over to you so that you can do your read aloud.
Okay, so let me show you. This is the book. Just because, hopefully you can see it. There. I even have bookmarks.
They're lovely.
The thing about Just Because is it's written in poetry form. So I think the children will find the value in hearing the flow of the words, as well as seeing people that look like them. So good news or bad times, family is always there. May not have much, but always willing to share. Look, Marika arrived the same time that DJ did, and they're watching Najee act like a silly kid. Then Marco stopped by for no reason at all. I guess he wanted to do more than just call. Norm bought a new home, and Stacy found her soulmate. 2 more reasons to celebrate. Now, Maurice and Ray will be our DJs because their music is grooving, and Bobby gets the party going when he starts to moving. So whether Sadiq wants to dance or Sue needs a hug, we'll open our arms and then cut a rug. Now you have to ask your parents about the cut a rug part, but that meant we were really jamming and dancing. Great news. Uncle Cedric and his wife just had another son. Time for a baby shower. Now those are fun. Sure, we have problems like any other family, but we come together to support each other happily. So you see on one page, I have all the sisters, all the women, and on another page, we have all the men and the brothers that are coming together. We're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other. For I can truly say my best keepers are my brothers. Through the years and the tears, our triumphs and our fears, in any situation, our family will come together. The love we share only makes things better. And this energy will continue for generations to come. Through God and in each of us is where it comes from. We accept each other in all of our flaws, for the greatest love is family. And then my child who understands it, now it says, I know, just because.
Thank you, Chiquita, for sharing your wonderful book with teachers here in the UK. It is always such a pleasure to hear the author's voice behind the children's books. Finally, can you just let us know where in the UK we can purchase Just Because?
You can get it on Amazon at amazon.co.uk. And also just have me come there. I would love to come and talk to the children. One thing I do find pleasure is connecting with the children so that they can understand the importance of their voice and their connections with their family. But until I come there, you can always get it on Amazon.
We look forward to hearing more about your book, and as your writing journey continues, certainly reach out and share with us any new books that come out. We will make sure that we place links for Just Because in this video. And thank you once again, Chiquita, for joining ReadMaster for UK Teachers, home of the author's voice.
Thank you so much for having me again.